Hey, Marcus House with you here. Today we are checking out a game called Stable Orbit, and we are also joined by a very good friend of mine, Mark Thrimm. How you going, Mark?
Hello, I'm great. So tell us, Marcus, what are we doing here today? Because judging by the looks, we are in charge of a space station, right?
Yes, exactly right. So yes, in this game the year is 2034. Reading a little here from the documentation, it basically says it has been 5 years since the International Space Station was deorbited. Space programs the world over have faltered, and against all odds, an unprecedented all-nation space coalition is formed around a shared desire to rebuild mankind's permanent presence in space and rekindle the space race. Who will lead this mission? Well, today, Mark, I guess it's just you and me that are going to lead this mission. So yes, let's dive into this thing. I'm just messing around here at the moment, obviously.
Right, so I see you're building a shuttle dock, which is probably the most important part of our space station. Second, maybe only to the core, right? Because it will allow us to get some supplies, new crew members, and everything we need, basically, for our station to function that cannot be produced in orbit. And also we have an unpressurized extension for our base in form of a truss.
So I'm just waiting for a radiator to build here because I did have a little turd of this game earlier just to sort of see how you get around the game a little, and I've figured that out so far. But yes, one of the things I did figure out quite early was that you really run into temperature problems really quickly. So I'm putting a radiator here. And there it is there. Now the next thing I want to do is put down a solar panel because, yes, without solar energy or some form of energy, we're not really going to be able to do much at all. We don't actually have any astronauts up here yet, and we need to make this station human-friendly, I guess, before we can actually get people up here.
Right, so at least one person can live in the core. That's what I learned at least. But yeah, obviously we will need a habitat for our crew members to stay, sleep and basically rest, and a laboratory for them to work, because we need to start generating some money as quickly as possible. But before we can do that, obviously what we'll need is a little bit of extra energy, or at least some form of energy generation. So I see that building the solar panel would be probably a great idea, and maybe something to store that energy. As you said, the batteries that you're building here probably will do the job, right?
So I'm currently also constructing some batteries just so that we have some space to store all of that solar energy, well, as soon as our solar panel actually finishes building. And something else that I also figured out is you can actually upgrade your battery bank here and include a few more batteries, giving it more capacity. I can't figure out whether it costs you more money to do this or whether it costs you more maintenance to do this. It doesn't seem to, so yes, you can pretty much just upgrade everything here. Oh, and there is our very first shuttle delivery there with our very first astronaut, so we can finally get somebody into the lab that's just popped up finally there, and hopefully start earning some money. So this game is still early access, but this is the third update now, and the reason we're doing this video is to sort of explain some of these new changes. So the perihelion update, which is the third update, added a few more gameplay mechanics, and the laboratories no longer just produce money over time, but instead we need to actually research different missions and stuff offered by the labs to fulfill research contracts and so forth, and that will earn us money to let us expand our station.
And this is exactly what we want to do. We want our station to be big and beautiful. And also, let's not forget that we will need that money to actually maintain our station operational, because every single module that you see here requires some amount of money daily to keep it operational and undamaged. What's also important about the contracts is that they differ in the obviously amount of money you will be paid for doing them, but also the deadline is quite different from one contract to another, and it might happen that you will be offered a couple of contracts that are very easy to do in terms that you have enough time to do them, but you won't be paid very much. But then there will be other contracts that will offer much more substantial financial reward, but they will be also short-term. So it means that what might happen is that you will end up with a contract that will give you only a couple of days to finish, but you will be paid several hundred millions for doing so, which is very much actually.
So while we're waiting there for that research contract to finish up so that we can have some more money to build more things, we can talk a little about the future of the game here. Another change to the game with this latest update is the management of waste. So waste now becomes a problem for us to manage. We essentially end up with a bit of a build-up of waste, and it can affect the living conditions and the health of the crew. And we've got the ability, I think, which we haven't seen yet, but we do have, I believe, the ability to recycle waste in some way. And that's just going to add a little more challenge to the game, I think, and it's being improved all the time. And I know one of the future updates that they have planned from memory is orbital management. So it'll essentially allow the players to strategically place and fire thrusters to maintain the orbit of the station. So that's a pretty cool addition, I think, that's coming. And again, that'll add more challenge. You don't want your space station, of course, to plummet back into the atmosphere. That would, really ruin your day.
Yes, quite definitely it would ruin your day, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible to ruin your day in stable orbit right now. One thing that you could do that will pretty quickly ruin your day and destroy your station is poor fund management, because normally you have to spend some money for the maintenance, and once you run out of money you won't be able to do that, and therefore the modules on your station will start taking damage, and quite rapidly so, and once they take enough they will be destroyed or inoperable. And yes, that means that this particular module that has been destroyed will be useless, basically, will stop working. And it's actually pretty difficult to imagine our station that we have here to run without any of the modules that we have right now. Whatever would be broken on it, be it radiators or solar panels or the laboratory or the habitat, everything is needed, basically. So if something gets broken, then we are in big trouble. Of course, you can repair those modules, provided you have enough money, but the problem is that it's really easy to spiral down into your own doom once this happens, because without money you cannot repair your modules, and once they get destroyed you won't be able to generate new funds, because probably something important will be inoperable. This happened to me a couple of times already, but luckily we are not there yet.
So as soon as this pops up here, these oxygen tanks, I'll just add some more capacity to those. So there we go. Instead now of only having 1.5 weeks of oxygen, we now have 1.5 months almost, or 1.3 months. So that's great. Wait, hang on. How come my balance is so low all of a sudden? I had 300 million a minute ago.
Yeah, this is actually a trap that I've fallen into as well, because I was thinking that you only have to pay for new modules, and you don't really have to pay for upgrading them, and it's free. But it's not, and since the price is nowhere to be seen, you will have to learn that the hard way.
Well, yeah, we are in trouble here a little. I'm hoping that our little research here is going to complete before we run into any real problems. This is going to bring us in 687 million. But of course, now that we've got zero balance because it's been eaten away there just from maintenance costs, yes, we're taking damage now. We're taking damage. I wonder how much damage we're going to take before this contract. Oh no, I can see there down the bottom that our hab is taking damage. That's not going to be very good. There's going to be nowhere to stay if that gets ruined.
Oh, that would be really bad. Yeah. I wonder what will happen to our crew when this happens. Well, I think that we all know what will happen to them, but well, let's hope that maybe we can remedy the situation somehow. Maybe finish a contract before we get utterly destroyed, or somehow find a solution to this problem.
Man, I wish this Elliot and Maria would stop sleeping and start working. We need to finish this thing so our whole station doesn't explode. Oh no, we've just lost our lab.
Ooh, that's really bad news. And I love how relaxed they are, like nothing really happened.
Well, I think, Mark, we've probably just demonstrated very nicely to everyone how to not play this game. That's a rubbish attempt. Yes, we might need to restart. I'm assuming there's just nothing we can do here to keep this thing going. Like, we can't get them to repair anything, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. Well, this is actually something I probably dislike the most about the game, is that it punishes you really severely for any mistake you make, and there is absolutely no coming back once you make it. Like, you cannot cancel something mid-time and get some funds back when you see that you've done something really wrong.
Well, we're definitely at the end of the line here. I mean, we've got no money, we can't research anything to get money. We're obviously going to run out of oxygen and water. We can't even get materials from the shuttle because our shuttle bay is also destroyed now, so I don't know what else we can do. I will say I'm a little surprised that everything damages just so quickly as soon as you run out of money. So yes, anyway, that's the game, I guess. What we might do then is just speed this thing up. We'll speed it up and see what happens here when we run out of our oxygen, water and food. We're going to run out of... bollocks. What? Our oxygen just disappeared. Oh, that's because our oxygen tanks just exploded. Yes. So yes, after the space industry has been stalled for so long and we have built our first station and inspired the world with all of our wonderful technology, we immediately blew everything up and our crew's now dead.
Right. So yeah, this is definitely not the way you would like to go about your own space program, right? Well, what can I say? Accidents happen, and this is one of them. Basically, everyone's dead now. The station is ruined, and I think it's game over for us. We've also ruined probably everyone's hope for a new space program that would be better than the previous one.
What we'll do here, I think, is start a new game and we'll speed the video right through so that we're back up to the same point before we started dying there. So yes, after that terrible attempt, we'll start a brand new station. We'll call this one Earth Station 2. Earth Station 2. That's a nice original name. So I think I've learnt my lesson. The idea here is to not run out of money. That will really screw you up fast. So we'll make sure that we've got plenty of money in our bank this time. And yes, I'll start rebuilding this thing and we'll speed up the video here quite rapidly. Yes, I'll hand the mic over to you for a moment while I get busy.
Alright, so thanks Marcus, and as you guys saw, it's still possible to lose in stable orbit, even if the game itself might appear pretty relaxed and slow-paced, and it certainly is like that. But yeah, the most important part of the game and the thing that you want to be paying most attention to is planning. Planning what modules are you adding and in what order, planning how much crew can you support in your station, how much power are you generating, how good is your station at cooling itself. All of that actually matters, and you have to plan ahead or you will run out of money and blow everything up.
Just sticking with the one crew member doing research for a while until we earn enough money is definitely the right way to go instead of trying to do too much too fast like I did before. So I think what I might do here is just extend some of these things, and actually, now that I upgrade those batteries and things like that, I can see that does drop your balance fairly significantly. So there was a cost to that. Maybe I'm blind, but I can't actually see where the cost actually is shown there when you do an upgrade. Anyway, I'll just make sure that we have got plenty loaded up into our lab there to process lots of research jobs in there, so accepting all those. I would actually like to get some more water and food storage because we've only got a few weeks of storage for that. We've got plenty of oxygen by the looks of that, but we'll have to just wait, I think, until we've got a little bit more money.
Right, so life support system in this game is pretty interesting. You have to basically fulfill all your crew's needs in terms of oxygen, water and food, and since we are okay with oxygen, I believe, the only thing that we have to worry about is water and food, and those are transferred to you via the shuttle. So provided you have enough storage, you don't have to be worried too much about getting them. And the shuttle is coming every couple of days, I believe, but one thing that we might take a look into is waste management, because I think that the waste is accumulating, right?
Actually, I'm just noticing there now we have that second crew member, we're generating a lot of waste, and yes, I better try to get rid of this. We better create a waste recycler to deal with this issue. And at the same time, I'll whack on a food module there as well. That'll give us a bit more storage. And because we have two crew members researching here, I can probably take the risk and just get one of these water storage units here as well. So we'll put that on there. There we go. And I guess the only other thing that we should deal with fairly urgently is the heat problem we've got going on here. That big radiator we have at the back there is obviously not doing enough to help reduce the temperature there. Probably just want to research a few more things. I'm just a little paranoid now. I don't want to run out of money. So we should be about right there now. I'll just add that radiator there now. And there we go, as soon as that's built, you can see the heat has dropped down considerably there, so that worked well.
That worked well indeed, yes. So yeah, heat obviously is a very big problem in real space explorations, and ISS, for example, has really quite a lot of radiators because, well, space might be cold, but there is also pretty much nothing in it, so there is nothing to cool you down, and the only way to get rid of excess heat is by radiating it out into space, and that's generally a relatively slow process. The other thing that I like very much about this game is the energy management. So obviously I'm a very big fan of solar energy, so I like solar panels, and I like that you have to be very considerate, especially in the early game, about what kind of panels you build and where do you place them, and also that you have to pay attention whether you have enough batteries to keep your station powered while you are on the night side of the planet.
The next thing I want to construct here on this is an oxygen generator. You can see there, now that we've got the 3 crew anyway, they're actually using more oxygen than we are really able to maintain. These systems, of course, get used in real life as well, so you have essentially a whole bunch of water that you electrolyze. And this will essentially give you both oxygen and hydrogen. The oxygen, of course, you can then use to breathe, of course, and yes, you can vent the hydrogen, generally vent it overboard, otherwise, you explode, and, typically it's always good to not have your space stations explode. So there you go. There you can see now our oxygen is climbing, and essentially it will just convert water when it needs to, just to fill up those oxygen tanks. Just means we don't have to have a whole heap of oxygen tanks lying around our station everywhere. We can just have a whole heap of water storage, and that will do us for oxygen as well, generally. So all of our stats there on our station looking pretty good. We're in the green, we don't have too much heat, that's quite good. So I guess the next thing to do is sort of expand our station, get some of those really big modules researched. I think we can unlock a large hab and also a large lab, so that's probably the next thing to do.
Well, yes, obviously, if we can have larger modules, that's probably better because, well, large lab allows multiple crew members to work there and do the research for which we are getting paid, so that's great. And a large habitat, if we can build it, will house multiple crew members, which is also something that we want probably in the future because we need people to work in our space station, right? So yeah, so that's great. So this is actually how you expand your station, by doing the research in the laboratory. That will unlock new, bigger and better modules for you to build and for your station to prosper.
I can see there we're actually researching the advanced habitats there now, Mark. Oh, and actually also we are now researching the large solar arrays. So yeah, that's pretty cool actually. I'm assuming that now means that we're going to be able to use those on our station as soon as these are finished.
That would be great, because I definitely like them very much. Those are my favorite large solar arrays, so I'm looking forward to building at least a couple of them. And I must say that we are doing pretty well up to now. Definitely way better than before, so I'm really happy with the progress so far. So our station looks nice.
So at this point, it could be a good time to stop the video there and continue this on your channel, Mark. What do you think?
That is a great idea, so thank you, Marcus, for having me. Thank you everyone for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I would like to invite you to follow us on my channel now. And again, thanks a lot.
And with that, I'd just like to thank you all for watching. I hope you did enjoy that video. Please take a second, give it a thumbs up. All of your support helps a huge amount. If you have any questions for me or Mark, please do whack them down in the comments below. Thank you all my wonderful subscribers, and please go and subscribe to Mark's channel as well. He has a crazy channel full of all sorts of massive SSTOs in Kerbal Space Program and all sorts of other wonderful things, so check that out. You can also follow me on Twitter at MarcusHouseGame, and we will see you in the next video. While doing a mid-course correction, the engines were unable to be shut down and all maneuver controls had frozen. The only thing Danny could do was wait until all fuel had been expended. It is a terrible day for all Kerbal kind as we now find Danny alone in a retrograde orbit between